afternoon, Alison, who is working from home today, so it's the first time she's got a chance to listen to my new show. Relax, Alison, it's only day 3. Thank you for being there. Claire Clayton says, best music ever this afternoon. I agree. Let's do it all again tomorrow from 4. Sarah's next. Radio 2, BBC Sounds App, smart speaker and 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 4 o'clock. This is Claire Ronacres. Opposition MPs and environmental groups have said they're pleased that Rishi Sunak will now attend a major climate summit in Egypt later this month after the Prime Minister reversed his earlier decision not to go. Downing Street said Mr Sunak had always recognised the importance of the summit and now felt there was sufficient space in his diary to make the trip. Yesterday, Boris Johnson announced that he would attend the summit. Helen Clarkson, who's from the non-profit organisation The Climate Group, says Mr Sunak's presence will send an important signal.
Climate is a collective action problem, and you'll often see people saying, well, why should we do something if they're not doing something? Actually, the whole COP process sort of turns that around and says we're all going to do something. And that's why it's really critical that countries turn up, and particularly when we've had the presidency, to show that we're a trusted player in all this and people can rely on us to do what we say we're going to do, and that will then drive others to keep their commitments.
The head of the NHS in England has warned that patients are not always getting the care they deserve. Speaking to the health think tank, the King's Fund, Amanda Pritchard suggested the challenge facing the health service now was greater than it was at the height of the COVID pandemic. Our health editor Hugh Pym says the government is facing some difficult decisions about NHS funding.
In the view of the Chancellor and the Prime Minister, it's going to be very, very difficult to find more money. And going back to her comments about this being worse than the pandemic, of course, patients expect a full set of services from the NHS, as well as continued care over COVID. And we've got this huge backlog in England of 7 million people waiting for planned treatment and procedures.
A series of independent reports on the deaths of 3 young women with mental health issues have found more than 100 failings by the NHS Trust that was treating them in North Yorkshire and County Durham. Christy Harnett and Nadia Sharif, who were both 17, and 18-year-old Emily Moore all took their own lives. Brent Kilmurray is the chief executive of the Tees, Esk and Wear Valley NHS Trust.
We've changed our clinical and operational structures. We've introduced new sorts of roles. For example, lived experience directors, probably one of the first trusts in the country, which allow us to bring the voice of the patient to the top tables. We've been investing over £5 million in the last 2 years in improving our ward environments to make them safer.
Police chiefs have said they're determined to improve standards after a report claimed more than 100 officers should have failed vetting procedures. The police watchdog found that some serving officers had criminal records, significant debts, or families with links to organised crime. Finally, a pair of John Lennon's glasses and a guitar smashed by Kurt Cobain will be the headline items at a blockbuster music memorabilia auction later this month. The items are expected to make a combined total of more than £400,000 when they go under the hammer in New York. That's the news, and now here's the sport with Katie Smith.
And we start with news of an FA Cup icon. Ronnie Radford, the scorer of one of the most memorable goals in FA Cup history, has died at the age of 79. He scored the equaliser for non-league Hereford United against Newcastle in 1972. His goal forced extra time, with Hereford going on to beat them in one of the tournament's biggest upsets. Elsewhere, Scotland will host England on September the 12th next year as part of the 150th anniversary celebrations of their first match in 1872. It's recognised by FIFA as the world's oldest international. The head of the Swedish Tourist Board for a region called Halland has asked English football fans to spell check internet searches for Manchester City star Erling Haaland. They say the popularity of the football phenomenon is completely suffocating their online presence, and they're at risk of becoming a forgotten Atlantis. Well, City are in Champions League action tonight. They're up against Sevilla. And in cricket, teenager Alice Capsey is among 6 players who've been awarded their first England women's central contracts as part of a recent funding increase from the ECB. That's the BBC News and Sports. It's 4 minutes past 4.
Katie and Claire Ronacres, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you Sarah Cox, BBC Radio 2.
Did make it sound like they were a married couple. I mean, they'd look great together, to be fair. They should think about it. Scott, thanks for a lovely show, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome along to your wonderful Wednesday tea time extravaganza. We're in the very centre of the week, the essence, the kernel, the marrow, the core. And core, have we got an awesome show for you today. Features to make you gasp all agog, music to make you sing along so loudly that Fido may file for dog divorce. Plus you, your hellos, happy birthdays, and see you soons on 88.291. As it is a Wednesday, there's Jukebox Jam, plus first and last a half hour, and steam your tux ahead of the Sarahs. And next we see who's totally T-voted. Plus, dry your spider and roll with it. I'm excited. Harry's excited.
Bakers, there's a bread roll on the loose in the tent.
I think I said